Well, folks, how are you this evening? We're so glad you're with us at the great show on location. Man, we've got a good show for you this week. I tell you, we got a new segment coming on called the Nashville Connection that's going to be with us this evening. We're going to feature a fellow from right here in Lexington, South Carolina. Kenneth Christian Jr. is going to come up and pick a little bit for you and debut his skills right here on location. I tell you, this evening we're broadcasting. We're back in Columbia, South Carolina right now at the Shed, the home of Biker Church USA. And we're so glad they let us come in here and use the facility. I do want to have a little disclaimer, a little verbal disclaimer this evening, folks. We, as most of you know, we lost our producer, Sean Logan. He moved to Chicago, and we've had to outsource our production. And on this evening's show, we're a little bit disappointed, but that's all right. We got some great content for you. The show that we recorded and the interview we recorded with my friend and the president of LS Records and Christy Lane's husband, Lee Golden. No, not Lee Golden, Lee Stoller. I'm sorry, now I'm as confused as the producer was. They just sent us the DVD of the interview for this evening. And what they sent us, I believe, was the clippings from the editing floor. They didn't send us the actual show. But we don't want to, I see somebody making the camera go black over there, making me nervous. I don't want to go black. They say once you go black, you never go, oh, never mind. That's a whole other story. But, anyway, well, folks, I see disc title up there now, but here we're just going to forget all that. Anyway, let me tell you something. So what they did was they sent us an all chopped up version. But we're going to share it with you anyway because there's some great content in there. And I want you to get to know a little bit about my friend Christy Lane and her husband Lee Stoller. He's an awesome fellow. I want you to also see my friend here. I took my bus in to get some work up there at KRS, Ken's Repair Service. They work on tour buses here in Lexington, South Carolina. And Ken came out and he said to me, man, I got a fella here you just got to meet. He can pick. Ooh, Lord, he can pick. And I said, oh, boy, here we go. I looked around the shop, and, you know, you can never judge a book by its cover. So I learn life lessons every day, folks. I hope you all do, too, because this fella come up to me. Whoo, son, I mean, he was covered from head to toe in grease. And Ken said, you can meet this guy right here. This is Kenneth Christian Jr. And, boy, can he play guitar. So I said, well, good, have him come on down to the studio because God will reward anybody that's obedient. Don't you know that? So listen here, we're just going to go ahead and go to a little prayer. We're sorry things are like they are. I know some people in Nashville said to me, you should do this, this, and this. And normally we tried, but we're going to start coming back to in-house production. And we miss Sean. We know God's blessed him where he's at, and we're glad he's where he's at. But we'll get through tonight. And, boy, we've got some great people coming up in the future. We got the big country legend Leon Everett will be on the show. We got the award-winning gospel group Jordan River will be with us. All these shows coming up, and they'll be fantastic, I promise you. So let's just go to a word of prayer right now. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege to come stand before you and claim you as our King, Lord. We thank you for everything that you've done for us. We want to lift you up. We pray that somebody will watch this evening and it might spark or rekindle a fire to want to know you better or to love you more. We ask that you put us back and you step forward, Lord. This is about you. And we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, folks, here's what we're going to do right now. We're going to go to a word from our sponsor and we'll be right back.
One day at a time.
You know Christy Lane is the top-selling TV artist in the world.
One set of footprints in the sand. You were always on my mind.
Perhaps the greatest TV special ever offered.
You were always on my mind.
With your order today, the first gift is free. The top 10 songs of all time.
Somewhere, my love, how great thou art. I could fly higher than an eagle.
Her breathtaking voice has captured hearts around the world.
You are the wind beneath my wings.
Your second gift is the country classics.
You
songs that will touch your heart.
There goes my everything. I'll be there before the next teardrop.
Call now for this #1 special. 4 beautiful gifts for all occasions, all collectibles. Only $19.99 plus $6.99 shipping and handling. You save over 50%, and the #1 million-selling book, One Day at a Time, is free. The Vietnam CD is free. Christy salutes all veterans. You pay shipping only.
Hi, I'm Rich Parr. I'm here with a friend of mine, Todd Harvey, the owner of Big Boys Motorcycle on Highway 302 in West Columbia, South Carolina. Todd, how long have you had this bike shop?
Since 2008.
So what would encourage people to come here versus going to a dealer, let's say?
Friendly personal service, better prices than the dealer. We use the same checklist they do for a third of the price.
Let me ask you this. If they wanted to buy a good used motorcycle, could they come to you for that also?
Absolutely.
What would you say would be the comparison between your rates here or the rates of a dealer? We're about half of what a dealer is. So, could a person, if they brought their motorcycle here, Todd, would they get to have the same mechanic work on their motorcycle? Could they depend and learn to trust the mechanic on a personal level as well as the motorcycle itself?
Absolutely, and I encourage my technicians to talk to the customer and get to know them as well.
Todd, let me ask you, what's your phone number here?
It's 803-794-7900.
So, folks, come on down to Big Boys Motorcycle at 1834 Airport Boulevard, West Columbia, South Carolina, where service is key.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean Logan. I'm here to tell you about Rich Parr's latest Nashville production, Headed Home. Recorded at Jay's Place, studios in Nashville, Tennessee, this CD contains 9 inspiring selections, some of which you may have already heard, but all of them tailored to fit the voice of Rich Parr. Songs like Dan Willis's Fire and Brimstone and Fire Below. There's a fire below. There's a fire below. There's a fire below. There's a fire below. Rusty Goodman's Leaving on My Mind. Headed Home is an upbeat, foot-stomping example of gospel music combined with selections of thoughtful and heartfelt inspiration. This is one of Rich Parr's best productions as God continues to bless him in his ministry. Headed Home is available on iTunes for download to any device, as well as CD Baby.
Well, folks, I told you about a great section that we were going to have a new segment in our show on location called the Nashville Connection. Well, we're going to bring it to you tonight, and I'm going to tell you what, I've got a guest with us this evening, Kenneth Christian Jr. I listened to him pick a little bit, and I'm going to tell you something, you're sure going to enjoy this. And this will be the first person that we've had come into this new segment, the Nashville Connection. I had to get quiet and make sure everybody was listening out there. I want you all to be paying attention to what I'm telling you, because when you see any one of these artists on here, they're on their way to Nashville. I can promise you that. Anyway, I was let me tell you how I found this fella. I was getting some work done on my bus up here in Lexington, South Carolina at Ken's Bus Repair. And Mr. Ken come out there. I've known him probably a bunch of years. And he come out there and he said, Rich, he said, you know, I know you in the music business. We got a fella here that works for me that picks and grins like you wouldn't believe. He said, you just got to hear this fella. I said, yeah, this sounds like a real joy here. So I said, I was a little skeptical, to be honest with you. But, man, I've got to tell you, what a pleasure to be able to bring him to you. So, folks, we're going to go to a word from our sponsor right now. And we'll be right back with Kenneth Christian Jr., picking and grinning just for you. Hi, I'm Rich Parr. If you're like me, when it comes to service on your bike, you don't want to just hand your bike off to anybody. And that's exactly what happens if you take your bike to the big dealers or the big motorcycle shops. That's why I bring my bike to Big Boys Motorcycle, where you get good, friendly, personal service, and all the work is overseen by master mechanic and owner Todd Harvey. Not only do you get good, friendly, personal service, but you get it at a cost way below that of a dealer, and with genuine OEM parts. So for all your service needs on your bike, bring your bike to Big Boys Motorcycle, 1834 Airport Boulevard, West Columbia, South Carolina.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean Logan. I'm here to tell you about Rich Parr's latest Nashville production, Headed Home. Recorded at Jay's Place, studios in Nashville, Tennessee, this CD contains 9 inspiring selections, some of which you may have already heard, but all of them tailored to fit the voice of Rich Parr. Songs like Dan Willis's Fire and Brimstone and Fire Below.
There's a fire below. There's a fire below. There's a fire below. There's a fire below.
Rusty Goodman's Leaving on My Mind. Headed Home is an upbeat, foot-stomping example of gospel music combined with selections of thoughtful and heartfelt inspiration. This is one of Rich Parr's best productions as God continues to bless him in his ministry. Headed Home is available on iTunes for download to any device, as well as CD Baby.
Christian, and I found out about the chicken coop, and I want to come out here and try to lay down a couple tunes for y'all, and I hope you appreciate, and y'all have a good day, and God bless you. Song going by Garth Brooks called The Dance. Looking back on the memories of that dance we shared beneath the stars above. For a moment, all the world was right. How could I have known that you would ever say goodbye? And now, I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all should go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain that I'd have had to miss the dance. Holding you, I've held everything. For a moment, wasn't I a king? If I'd only known how the key would fall, yet who's to say? You know, I might have changed it all. And now, I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all should go. Our lives are better left a chance. I could have missed the pain that I'd have had to it's my life. Spinning left the chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Next song I'm going to do for the chicken coop, my best friend Ken and my girlfriend Robin, called The Hole in the Wall by Alan Jackson. There's a hole in the wall where a nail used to be. A nail held the picture of the one who once held me. Now that wall's telling me what I don't want to hear. I'm tired of the word for keeps ringing in my ear. Oh, I guess the sailor man was simply painted, but I'm not saying after all, my wall ain't it. I've got this hammer in my hand. When I'm through, there'll be your hole in that wall, big enough to drive a truck through. When you lose the greatest love you've ever had, a little hole in the wall is enough to drive you mad. Oh, I guess the sailor man was simply painted, but I'm not saying after all, my wall ain't it. I've got this hammer in my hand. When I'm through, there'll be your hole in that wall, big enough to drive a truck through. I've got this hammer in my hand. When I'm through, there'll be your hole in that wall, big enough to drive a truck through. I'm using my Bible for romance, the children of Israel used to do. They crossed the Red Sea of destruction, but God was there to see them through. There'll be no detour in heaven, no rough roads along the way. I'm using my Bible for romance. My last stop is heaven some sweet day. I'm using my Bible for romance, the children of Israel used to do. They crossed the Red Sea of destruction, but God was there to see me through. There'll be no detour in heaven, no rough roads along the way. I'm using my Bible for a roadmap. My last stop is heaven some sweet day. My last stop is heaven some sweet day. This is a song called It'll Be Worth It After All. Y'all just turn your hearts to Jesus and He'll show you the way. It'll be worth it after all, child. It'll be worth it after all. After all of these trials, we'll hear Jesus call. It'll be worth it after all, child. It'll be worth it after all. After all of these trials, it'll be worth it after all. Here in this valley, we'll hear Jesus call. He'll be calling for you. He'll be calling for me. Just open your heart up and let Him in. After all of these trials, it'll be worth it after all. It'll be worth it after all, child. It'll be worth it after all. After all of these trials, we'll hear Jesus call. It'll be worth it after all, child. It'll be worth it after all. After all of these trials, it'll be worth it after all. After all of these trials, it'll be worth it after all. Oh.
Well, folks, I know you sure enjoyed listening to Kenneth over there pick and grin a little, singing a little bit for us. Man, I thought it was pretty good myself, and he's local right here in Lexington, South Carolina. But we're going to ask him a few questions, and if y'all think you'd like to have him come somewhere to sing for you, we sure love to hear from you. You can always either PM me on my Facebook page, Rich Parr MFM, or you can go to the show's channel page, Live from the Shed, hosted by Rich Parr, and just let us know what you think. So anyway, Kenneth, I'm over here, brother. How you doing? It's good to see you.
I'm doing
Shake
fine,
my hand,
sir.
dude. You all right? There we go. Man, it's good to see you. You did a fine job over there.
Thank you, sir.
Let me ask you, how long you been singing and picking?
My daddy put a guitar and a banjo in my hand when I was 7 years old.
7 years old.
Yes, sir.
What are you doing now full time?
Pull wrenches for Mr. Ken Lesser for KRS Repair. Ken's Repair Service.
Ken's Repair Service.
Yes.
That's the place I met you, I think.
Yes, sir. You heavy bus. We got a bunch of them we work on.
Yeah, folks. I took my bus up there to KRS, or Ken's Repair Service, and Ken came out and told me, he said, "Man, I know you're into music. You got to hear this guy I got that works for me." And he picked that guitar and picked a banjo and sang a little bit. I said, "Well, let's see what he can do." So Ken, what's your ambition? I mean, do they call you Kenneth? Do they call you Ken? Call you? I mean, I know I've heard them call you several other things. Well, it's a Christian show.
Well, my real name is Kenneth Christian.
Okay.
Junior. And at work, they call me Duke.
Duke.
D-U-K-E. Yes, sir.
Now, how'd that come about?
We don't know.
We don't?
Well,
how did you know to answer to you the first time they called you Duke?
I wear cowboy boots, and I'm probably the only country boy there that's...
Oh, I got you. Oh, yeah, those are nice boots there. Yeah. Oh,
Those kind of cowboy boots? Yeah, that do.
Yeah, got them at a dollar store.
Okay, well, that's good. Obviously, you didn't get your guitar at a dollar store. That's a good-looking guitar.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you picked the dickens out of that, son. We hope to get you back here sometime with your banjo. Are you playing anywhere now, or are you wanting to play somewhere? What are you wanting to do?
I do want to play. I want to make this happen for me, and the dream come true. And you and Ken Lester are the man, have been the mans to push me to get to do this.
Well, we appreciate it. You had the talent. You know, I got to tell you something. God gave you the talent. We may be pushing you a little bit, but we're only pushing you to share what God gave you, and He did a good job when He gave it to you. See, I like old style country music, and you sure got it going on. But you know, here's what I want you to do now. I want you to take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. There we go. Yeah, ooh, folks, I'm afraid he's so stiff over here. I'm afraid he's gonna pass out on us. We don't want that to happen. Great day in the morning. Anyway, folks, I tell you what, you keep in touch with me, and we'll sure let you know how you can get to hear some more of Kenneth Christian Jr. And brother, we sure appreciate you being on our first segment of the Nashville Connection. And all you folks and friends of mine out there in Nashville, you give him a listen and see if there isn't something we can do for it. Thank you. God bless you. And we'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
One day at a time.
You know Christy Lane is the top-selling TV artist in the world.
One set of footprints in the sand. You were always on my mind.
Perhaps the greatest TV special ever offered.
I could fly higher than an eagle.
Her breathtaking voice has captured hearts around the world.
You are the wind beneath my wings. I'll be there.
Every song you've always wanted.
The next teardrop falls.
Call now for this #1 special. 4 beautiful gifts for all occasions. All collectibles. Only $19.99 plus $6.99 shipping and handling. You save over 50%, and the #1 million-selling book, One Day at a Time, is free. The Vietnam CD is free. Christy salutes all veterans. You pay shipping only.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean Logan. I'm here to tell you about Rich Parr's latest Nashville production, Headed Home. Recorded at Jay's Place, studios in Nashville, Tennessee, this CD contains 9 inspiring selections, some of which you may have already heard, but all of them tailored to fit the voice of Rich Parr. Songs like Dan Willis's Fire and Brimstone and Fire Below.
There's a fire below. There's fire below. There's a fire below. There's fire below.
Rusty Goodman's Leaving on My Mind. Headed Home is an upbeat, foot-stomping example of gospel music combined with selections of thoughtful and heartfelt inspiration. This is one of Rich Parr's best productions as God continues to bless him in his ministry. Headed Home is available on iTunes for download to any device, as well as CD Baby.
Hi, I'm Rich Parr, your host of a brand new show we've got coming out called On Location, and we are here on location in Nashville, Tennessee. Man, I tell you, we're at a great studio, Right Stage Recording Studio, which is owned by Fred Vail, who was one of the managers of the Beach Boys and really gave them their boost. And I tell you, folks, one of the things about our brand new show On Location is we want to introduce you to some of the people that make the industry what it is. This morning, I am here, God bless, I'm here with Lee Stoller, president of LS Records in Nashville here. And not only is the president of LS Records, but he's also the husband of Christy Lane and many other successful businesses, ventures. Lee, man, what a pleasure. I am so grateful that you came and give us your time this morning. Let me ask you, so how long have you been in the music business?
Well, I guess now we've been married 57 years, so I've been in the music business for probably right at 54 years.
My goodness. Well, I tell you, now you used to own this studio, didn't you?
A piece of it.
A piece of it, I got you. I think I recorded in this studio probably 10, 15 years ago. Dan Willis, one of your writers, was my producer at the time. We might as well get right to the meat of it. We know that you pretty much created the artist Christy Lane. Tell us how that all came about, Lee.
Well, I actually caught her singing in the kitchen.
Oh, my goodness. So she's your wife, first.
Right. Yeah.
All right, yeah. I hope you wasn't in somebody else's kitchen.
No.
All right.
And this was after 3 kids.
Yes, sir.
In 4 years.
And still singing.
Yeah. 2 girls, Tammy and Cindy,
Yes,
and
sir.
Kevin, the young man.
Right.
And it took off from that. After the kitchen, I went ahead and booked her nightclubs and so forth to get some experience.
Yes, sir.
And one thing led to another till we ended up in the great city of Chicago on the National Barn Dance, WGN.
Awesome.
And now this year it looks like the Cubs could come back and be the world champs.
It does look that way, doesn't it? This,
After 100
so you're a Cub
years.
fan, I take it.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're for the big Cubs all the way. In fact, now since Christy has one of the top-selling biographies of all time that will end up being a movie,
Right.
we're going to give all the fans in baseball throughout the whole United States and go to ChristyLane.com and
Yes,
just
sir.
click on the free gift, and they get a copy of the book as an ebook or as the talking book.
Praise God. That's awesome.
Along with 10 songs.
10 songs.
Absolutely free. Yeah.
No charge.
No charge.
Not a little, we'll bill you later.
Nope, not at all.
Not a, if you buy a toaster, you
No.
get. Awesome.
They click on the free gift. They don't have to put in anything. It goes directly to their email.
That is unbelievable. You have always, I might as well take this opportunity now you said that, to say that you have always been such a giving man. And I say this from honestly the bottom of my heart. You have been so helpful to me in my career for 20 years. And now I see that you've helped so many other people and you're always giving. And that's such an important aspect of a person's life.
Well, give and you shall receive.
That's exactly
There's a
right.
lot of truth there.
So how many albums has Christy put out to date?
Somewhere in that excess of 40.
40 albums. And how many would you say have sold in her career?
Just One Day at a Time alone is in that 15 million area.
15 million
She's
albums,
had
15 million
millions,
songs. Praise God.
And the book is one of the biggest selling biographies ever. It's somewhere approaching that 5 million mark and available in all formats.
Now, just out of curiosity, you don't happen to have a copy of that book with you in the car or anything that we could show folks?
Yes, I do.
Well, I tell you, we're going to, in a little bit, we're going to take a little couple-minute break, and then I'm going to let somebody run out and get that for you, because I want to show the people. Also, Christy Lane advertises on our show Live from the Shed. Lee has been a great sponsor of our show, so if you click on there, you can also get to the free gift, and you can find a way to get all of her albums, and the book. So that's awesome. But man, I'll tell you, but you need to go to Christy Lane Music. That's unbelievable. Now, Lee, and I hate to keep, I'm sliding down in this chair. I'm old, been driving all night, and hands wet on the wheel. It sounds like a song. Anyway, sir, tell us a little bit about how you started LS Records.
Well, after we got back from Vietnam, where she done 125 shows, and all that's going to play a pretty good part in the movie.
Right.
Then I tried all of the labels around Nashville, Tennessee, trying to get her started on a label. And nothing but thanks, but no thanks. So I ended up starting my own label, LS Records, and got a distributor, GRT Records and Tapes, and we ran like 5 consecutive hits before GRT actually ended up going bankrupt. And then at that time, Christy was up for the Top New Female Artist of the Year award.
Sunday morning, up with the light, think I'll take a walk in the park. Hey, 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 it's a beautiful day. I've got someone waiting for me. When I see him, I know what he'll say. Hey, 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 it's a beautiful day. Ha, 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 beautiful Sunday. This is my beautiful day. When you say that you love me. Oh, my, it's a beautiful day. Birds are singing with you by my side. Let's take the car and go for a ride. Hey, 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 it's a beautiful day. We'll drive on and follow the sun, making Sunday go on and on. Hey, 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 it's a beautiful day. Ha, 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 beautiful Sunday. This is my beautiful day. When you say that you love me. Oh, my, it's a beautiful day.
Okay. All right. Okay. We're back. All right. Well, Lee, thank you for running out and getting this. This is the book One Day at a Time, and out to Christy Lane, One Day at a Time. And folks, you just really have got to get this book. So, and how again do they go about getting this?
Now, at ChristyLane.com, leave the H out of Christy, Christy, Lane.com, and you can just click on the free gift and download it right to your email. There you get the ebook or the talking book, along with 10 songs, absolutely free.
Okay, and this is One Day at a Time, the album
Right.
One Day at Christy Lane's One Day at a Time, and this is what started it all, isn't it? This song
That
here was a
started
big
it all,
part of it. This
right.
is when things just went crazy. How many successful hits has Christy had now?
Like I say, she's got somewhere in the excess of 40 different CDs, recorded 400 plus songs.
Top 10?
And it's several top 10s. And One Day at a Time has been the #1 inspirational album, perhaps in the entire world, and a #1 country song. In fact, it started out strictly as country. One Day at a Time hit #1, stayed there, and sold millions. And then through television, millions more. And it's an inspirational album of songs,
Right.
that has a total of 22. And it's actually been released by several different labels. Some of the labels has gone in the past, from KTEL to United Artists, Capitol Records,
My
LS Records, and GRT Records and Tapes, Suffolk Marketing out of New York. They were the first to have an album that sold well over 1 million copies.
Right. Well, I know that she's got so many albums, and I love this one. I have this one myself. And now, at one time, you and I have a mutual friend. Unfortunately, he just recently passed. He was a CMA Producer of the Year, produced songs like "Heaven's Just a Sin Away." Now, did Brian do some producing for you too?
Yes, in fact, me and Brian has been friends for years, and Brian has produced some songs on Christiona.
Now that's Brian Fisher we're talking about, folks. He was a CMA Producer of the Year. I don't recall the year, but I know what a great man he was. I miss him, don't you?
Yes, I do too.
Coming back to Nashville here without him here is a little strange for me. But and I also, now tell us a little bit about the man that we met when we first started this show, or when we came in to set up, Mr. Fred Vail, who owns this studio.
Fred, yeah. Well, Fred started years ago too in California, and with the Beach Boys. And from there ended up in Nashville, Tennessee. Where a lot of them ends up with is Nashville, Tennessee, because this is basically where country music started and still is. And now Nashville has became basically maybe the music capital of the United States, because you got every form of music.
Every genre's here.
Everything is here. Yeah.
I mean, from rap to country to even country rap. I've heard.
Yes.
Well, my goodness, we're not going to go there. Anyway, we'll leave that on. Well, I think we're going to take just a minute and go to a commercial break, and we're going to give the folks an opportunity to check out Christy Lane music. So we're going to go there for just a minute, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
One day at a time.
You know Christy Lane is the top-selling TV artist in the world.
One set of footprints in the sand. You were always on my mind.
Perhaps the greatest TV special ever offered.
You were always on my mind.
With your order today, the first gift is free. The top 10 songs of all time.
Somewhere, my love, how great thou art. I could fly higher than an eagle.
Her breathtaking voice has captured hearts around the world.
You are the wind beneath my wings.
Your second gift is the country classics.
You light up my life. Please release me. Can't you see? I can't stop loving you. It's useless to say. There goes my only possession.
Songs that will touch your heart.
There goes my everything. I'll be there before the next teardrop.
Call now for this #1 special. 4 beautiful gifts for all occasions, all collectibles. Only $19.99 plus $6.99 shipping and handling. You save over 50%, and the #1 million-selling book, One Day at a Time, is free. The Vietnam CD is free. Christy salutes all veterans. You pay shipping only.
Hi, I'm Rich Parr. I'm here with a friend of mine, Todd Harvey, the owner of Big Boys Motorcycle on Highway 302 in West Columbia, South Carolina. Todd, how long have you had this bike shop?
Since 2008.
So what would encourage people to come here versus going to a dealer, let's say?
Friendly personal service, better prices than the dealer. We use the same checklist they do for a third of the price.
Let me ask you this. If they wanted to buy a good used motorcycle, could they come to you for that also?
Absolutely.
What would you say would be the comparison between your rates here or the rates of a dealer?
We're about half of what a dealer is. So,
could a person, if they brought their motorcycle here, Todd, would they get to have the same mechanic work on their motorcycle? Could they depend and learn to trust the mechanic on a personal level as well as the motorcycle itself?
Absolutely, and I encourage my technicians to talk to the customer and get to know them as well.
Todd, let me ask you, what's your phone number here?
It's 803-794-7900.
So, folks, come on down to Big Boy's Motorcycle at 1834 Airport Boulevard, West Columbia, South Carolina, where service is key. Great commercial. Did you create that commercial?
Yes, I did.
I'll tell you, that is awesome. I love it, and I hope we're getting some response. I hope people phone in. You see the number at the bottom of that commercial, folks. You got to phone in because Christy Lane Music is one of our sponsors, and we definitely need it to keep him sponsoring us. You know, I have a friend, and I think I called you about this last week. A young lady named Sylvia Gilbert in Lexington, South Carolina, and I heard her sing at a facility the other night, and boy, she's fantastic, and I'd like to bring her to Nashville and introduce her to you, and maybe you could help her out. I know you've helped so many other clients I've brought here. I've brought several clients here, and you've come to the last couple of them yourself, and
right.
I brought Brianna here, and Brian produced her. Yeah. So one thing I've got to tell you folks about Mr. Stoller is that he helps people. It's not just giving, it's actually helping, and nobody I know knows the music industry better than he does. So I understand now you had a theater in Branson. Do you still have that theater?
No, in fact, we had the theater for 21 years.
Uh-huh.
We did sell it in 2010.
Right.
And at the present time, I'm devoting all of my time on getting the movie project off and running,
right.
which I'm looking at possibly as many as 2 to 3 major motion pictures. And in this day and age, it'll be broken down to all formats and even short films.
Awesome, awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that now.
That's
who's writing the script for you for that movie?
Well, Dan Willis is working on it.
Right.
And we definitely will be using one of Dan's, and we'll just go from there and see what happens.
Well, I know that you mentioned earlier that there's another writer that's gotten involved who's pretty famous, apparently.
Yes, I'm looking at Walter von Hune. That's wrote Happy Days and so forth.
The show Happy Days?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
And he's done a lot of work with Ron Howard,
Uh-huh.
unit producer, director, writer, and so forth.
Unbelievable.
And I'm looking at giving him a shot at writing me a script, too. So we're looking at, like I say, as many as maybe 3 or 4, and maybe a mini-series even. Because the book actually leaves off in December of 1982, and we just started writing a second book that will bring it up to date.
Oh. Now, in this studio that we're at now, of course, when I remember, this was Treasure Isle, and Fred Bell was running it then, too. Has Christy recorded in this?
Oh, yes. Christy has recorded over here probably at least a couple of 100 songs.
This is an unbelievable studio.
Yes.
I mean, it's probably, and right next door is another very famous. That's Blackbird next door.
Yes.
Right. Isn't that Martina McBride's studio?
Yes.
I know. I walked outside one time. Well, I got to tell you a little sneaky story. When I first came to this studio, it's been many years ago. We're not going to say how many because, yes, I'm 45. Oh, I wish. I forgot we're on a Christian network. All right, we'll take that back. But when I was coming out of this studio, when I was coming into the studio, Dolly Parton was coming out. I didn't know that she recorded here, but she recorded here several times.
Oh, yes.
It's amazing. And then another thing, I've been accused of being flirtatious, and when I walked out of here one time, there was a young lady next door that I didn't know very well. I didn't know at all, period. But I started flirting a little bit, and then all of a sudden her husband came out. His name was John, and I found out that was Martina McBride. I had no idea. So I've made some mistakes in my life. But anyway, so the theater you say is, you don't have that any longer.
No, Christy Lane Theater, that was the name, in Branson, Missouri. And Branson has a lot of theaters down there. It's a good entertainment spot. It is family oriented.
Now, don't the Osmonds have that theater now, or didn't Jimmy Osmond or something go in there?
Jimmy did it one time, but I'm not so sure if they're down there anymore.
I got you. I see. Cool. This is absolutely wonderful. What do you see after the movie, of course, that you've got coming up? What's your next major movie? Give us a little inside sneak.
Well,
tell us a secret. Tell us something that nobody else knows.
We're writing on the second book.
Oh.
And then as far as the film, and we could end up having a mini-series too.
Wow, that would be awesome.
Yes.
Now, Christy, is she retired now? Is she still singing some? Does she do personal appearances?
No, Christy is retired. In fact, she retired at the age of 55.
Must be
A
nice.
few years ago, and actually she had an accident in 1955, and that happened in Branson, Missouri, and that was for a benefit show. Her career started with the benefit shows and basically ended her personal appearances at one, which it was for battered women and abused children. And that was held in Branson, Missouri, and she donated her time. And they actually had an accident there where it fell off of the stage. It was hauled over there in an ambulance, and that actually ended her tour.
Now, I remember, this is a long time ago, I'm going to date myself a little bit, but I remember when Christy Lane's bus, I'm kind of a bus fanatic, but her bus was an old GMC Vista Cruiser. Do you remember? Scenic Cruiser, that's what it was, not a Vista, Scenic Cruiser. My goodness, how long ago was that, Lee?
That was a few years back, yeah, in the 80s, in the early 80s.
That's right, and I came to a show in Alabama and had Jerry Clower with me, if you remember correctly.
Right.
And y'all had bought Mo Bandy's bus back then.
Right.
Do you remember that? Oh, yes. My goodness. And Christy, I was in there with Dan Willis, and we were joking around, and Christy walked in. And the first thing, what are y'all doing? I need to go to sleep. That was the first thing she did. Then she went on to the back, and we got the hint that she needed some rest. But boy, she does a dynamic show. Oh my goodness. Now, I think Dan opened her act for several years at the theater.
Yes, Dan did. In fact, Dan, I think Dan would have hit. The sad part about that, he actually sounded a lot like Elvis Presley.
Which was a good thing and a bad thing, wasn't it?
Because when Elvis died in 1977, I think it was, we had a song on Dan out called Burning Bridges.
Oh, yes, I remember very well.
And another one that he wrote, The First Time I've Seen the Last Time on Your Face. And right after he passed, in fact, I was promoting Christy's song Let Me Down Easy on the station at the time, and they interrupted the song and they said Elvis Presley is dead. Bingo.
Right in the middle of the song.
Then basically within just a couple of days, then The King Is Gone came out.
That's right. Ronnie McDowell.
Ronnie McDowell.
That's a song Dan should have sung.
He should have, yeah. In fact, they tried to get it to Dan, but at the time Dan was doing a show, I think at Fort Leonard Wood, at one of the military bases, and they couldn't get a hold of him. But the rest is history.
You know, everybody, and I hate to keep going back to this, but everybody that I've met through you and with you has always been kind of a giving person. Dan helped me for so many years. As a matter of fact, I've got to be honest, I guess the real boost to my career came when I met Dan in Tampa back in 1970. And I shouldn't tell this little story, and I met his wife, so I probably won't tell any stories. Diane's a wonderful woman. So I think we'll just not tell any story. But we had some great times on the road. And everybody has just, I don't know whether it's something you've taught people or you just pick people that are always helping and kind at heart. But what a blessing.
Well, it's like I say, you get that back to the basics.
Back to the basics.
Yeah, never hesitate to lend a helping hand.
That's just
given you shall receive.
And that's something everybody everybody needs to learn that. I think we're going to go to a word from our sponsors. I know that we have we need to let people have an idea of how to get Christy's new book, Christy's new album, and a free gift, folks. Listen, when it comes time, you need to get a free gift and check out this album right here. This is unbelievable. Just go to Christy Lane Music,
ChristyLane.com.
ChristyLane.com. There you go, and be sure to put an order in for this book right now. For this tape right now. And we'll be right back after this word from our sponsors.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean Logan. I'm here to tell you about Rich Parr's latest Nashville production, Headed Home. Recorded at Jay's Place, studios in Nashville, Tennessee, this CD contains 9 inspiring selections, some of which you may have already heard, but all of them tailored to fit the voice of Rich Parr. Songs like Dan Willis's Fire and Brimstone and Fire Below.
There's a fire below. There's a fire below. There's a fire below. There's a fire below.
Rusty Goodman's Leaving on My Mind. Headed Home is an upbeat, foot-stomping example of gospel music combined with selections of thoughtful and heartfelt inspiration. This is one of Rich Parr's best productions as God continues to bless him in his ministry. Headed Home is available on iTunes for download to any device, as well as CD Baby.
One day at a time.
You know Christy Lane is the top-selling TV artist in the world.
One set of footprints in the sand. You were always on my mind.
Perhaps the greatest TV special ever offered.
I could fly higher than an eagle.
Her breathtaking voice has captured hearts around the world.
You are the wind beneath my wings. I'll be there.
Every song you've always wanted. Call now for this #1 special. 4 beautiful gifts for all occasions. All collectibles. Only $19.99 plus $6.99 shipping and handling. You save over 50%, and the #1 million-selling book, One Day at a Time, is free. The Vietnam CD is free. Christy salutes all veterans. You pay shipping only.
Let me down easy, let me down slow. Let me down easy, you're gonna go. Bring me down slowly, then let me off low. Let me down easy, you're gonna go.
All right, well, we're back, Lee, and man, it's good,
yeah.
man. I love that music, and I love that commercial. You did an awesome job. Listen, folks, I want to tell you, there's something else about Lee and I that we have in common that I wasn't sure whether we should share or not, but we're going to. Lee and I were both guests of the federal government when we spent a little time in the federal prison system.
Right, yeah.
And I think we both learned a little something from that, didn't we?
Yes, in fact, it's like the old saying goes, you know, you got to make the best of the situation at the time.
That's exactly right.
And during my time of 8 months and 20 days, that's when I got together with another writer and took a writing course and ended up writing the book, One Day at a Time, the life story of Christy Lane.
Man, that's fantastic. Now, see, I got a little more time than that. I was one of those bad Italians from Tampa, Florida, and they said 30 years. But Jesus got me out in 27 months.
Great.
So, you know, when you let God direct your path,
right?
You know, we mess up as people, and we end up in situations we prefer not to be in.
Right.
But if we use that time for the right thing, he'll bring us through it. And look what he's doing now, and how many people you've helped. I've brought several clients. Do you remember Tammy LeBeau and her daughter Brianna? They came up here and did a little recording with Brian. So you've been a blessing. Well, Lee, I tell you, we're fixing to I just want to say thank you so very, very much for coming in, being on the show with us. Oh man, what a blessing to have you! I want to thank Fred Vail for allowing us to use this beautiful studio to film the show in, and I also want to thank Sean Logan for coming in from Chicago to produce the show for us. He's always been such a blessing. And man, I'll just tell you, Right Stage Studios, folks. When you're in Nashville and you want to record something, this is the place to come. And you just tell Fred Vail, who's got a history that's second to none in the music industry, that Rich Parr and On Location asked you to come here. Lee, thank you again. God bless you.
Thank you. You take it one day at a time.
And thank you so much. God bless you.